So I will.
We're taking a little pause before the actual.
So I will take just a little pause, and and I like to start from the introduction again for the listeners, and to tell them that this is our second, literally historic conversation with great Leo Pearlstein, who is a founder of and the president of a Leo and Associates, which is full public relations and advertising firm, which was opened in 1950, before I was born. So this is just a formal regalia of your establishment, but it goes so much wider. And in the first conversation, we talked about tremendous spectrum of your activities with the food, with the people, with the companies, and the mostly important that you connected people with food. And I would add that we learn more about people because of the nature, how you connected those two. And we learn about characters of people, we learn about their likes. And of course, we did touch on historic events with President Kennedy and this famous Turkey preparation and his tragic assassination. But all of this was around your being called king of food. So today, I like to go into deeper in your life, in your experiences. And I will say that I was mesmerized by your musical talent, something which I didn't know and something which not too many people knew. So I wanted to say that you celebrated your 103 and a half with a tremendous performance for all of us, which I had the pleasure to listen and to see. So I would ask you in a second to talk about your musical life, your musical beat, because I think this is one of the secrets of your tremendous energy, tremendous creativity. But I will allow myself to say that this 103 and a half has a tremendous symbolism, because half actually means a lot in music. Half note can bring extra expression. And in New York, there was a half note jazz club, which maybe you heard about. We knew the owners, and they had great celebrities there, singers and performers. And therefore, that it made me think that your 103 and a half also has a celebration with your music performance, which just, I think, took about a week or week and a half ago. So can you talk to us a little bit about your love for jazz, why it is a drum, and what kind of experiences did you have as a jazz musician?
Well, I started when I was in high school. I got into the high school band, which we used to play for charities, old people, sick people, songs, and I played the drums. But before I played the drums, I played violin. So I learned about the music, but I never really learned about drum music. I was taught by a performer when I went to summer camp, his name was Jack Powell, and he used to appear in the RCA Music Hall in New York and do tricks with the drumsticks. He would throw them up in the air and catch them, put them on the floor and catch them.
Yeah.
And so he taught us how to play the drums. So when I came home from summer camp, I had a wooden chair by my desk and I had a pair of drumsticks and I used to play the drums on the chair. It wasn't until I got into high school that we actually, the high school used to buy drums and trumpets and musical instruments near the May Company downtown Los Angeles. And the lady in charge of the orchestra said that if I wanted to buy a drum, I could buy a drum and get it wholesale because of the school. So actually, there was a store in Hollywood called Drums on Vine, and they had a regular snare drum and a cymbal that goes up and down,
Yeah.
a bass drum. And there was a very famous drummer there turning in his old drum. His name was Sammy Stein. And I said to him, "Can I buy your drum?" And he said, "Yes, it's a good one." So I actually bought the small bass drum from him. I don't remember how much I paid, but it wasn't very much. And then my sons made a special cover for it, a blue cloth that stuck to the drum.
Yes.
And I used to be at home and play the drum all the time. When I was in the high school, I formed an orchestra and we got jobs playing for the students' events, for the French picnic, for the German celebration. And they were very good friends of mine. And there was Jimmy Ritter played the trumpet, and he was very good. And he got us jobs. Whoever got the job became the boss of the night. And believe it or not, that was back in 1938 to
That's
1940.
God, what a memory. This is amazing. Leo, that's truly remarkable. Music historians would not have such a memory. Apology for interrupting, but I am just absolutely blown away. Please go on.
But anyway, we had our orchestra, and I remember we used to get $3 per man. Whoever got the job was the boss. Maybe they made $2 more, but we all made $3 per man. So that was exciting. And we played in the school orchestra. We would make trips in the bus. They'd hire a bus for us and drive us to the hospitals so we could entertain the sick people. And as I say, and then I got jobs playing for the fraternities and sororities and bar mitzvahs and even weddings. So that was exciting. And then the rest of my life, I had my oldest son, David, is a very good musician, and he plays piano. And he had an orchestra in Aspen. He had two orchestras in Aspen. He played for 20 years in Aspen. And when my wife wasn't well, he came down here to help me with her in the house. And he moved. It was very expensive to move the big piano that he had.
Yes.
But he had the piano right here in my living room. Now, his wife loves the music and he loves the music. So he comes to visit me practically once a week at least. And we have what we call a jam session. He plays the piano and I play the drums. And once in a while, when I have a birthday or there's something to celebrate, he's got two of his friends that play instruments that come down and they play with us. So one of the players said I should call it Leo's Trio. He, he plays the clarinet and the saxophone, and I play the drums, and my son David plays the piano, and we have lots of fun. And David's wife, Karen, videos it, and I think it's on YouTube, on my YouTube right now. And David tells me that there's millions of people.
900,000.
90,000
900,000.
900,000 people available to see that jam session.
World's oldest living drummer.
That's
So, I don't know of any other drummer, nor do I know of any living drummer that is as old as I do. So I enjoy that very much. Now, because of my age, I can't play as fast as I used to because I have arthritis in both hands. And then when I play the drum, you do a lot of tricks on the corner of the drum and hit it. So
Leo,
I'm able to do it, but because of my two arms, it hurts me when I play the drum.
mhm.
But I'd rather put up the pain and enjoy it. And so we do that. And one thing I learned 70 years ago, I was never a show-off, to do tricks with the drumsticks, but I kept very good time. And the orchestra members enjoyed playing with me because they knew that in the terms of music, I wouldn't speed up.
Yeah.
They're supposed to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. So I always kept very, very good time. So
Yes.
any musician that played with me enjoyed playing himself because he had a good beat backing him up.
Yes. Leo,
Then my wife bought me a bunch of records, music records, on the old spinner that we had. And the player was near the piano. And so I would play a music record and play the drums with the music record.
yes. Oh, I see. As a duet with the record. Leo, I think you made me forget that you're a king of culinary, that you're king of food, because now I'm debating whether you are a musician or you are literally celebrity of food and history of food artistry. But that's probably why one fits the other. And I wanted to tell you about this, what you mentioned about the pulse, and that orchestra could depend, or musicians could depend on your pulse. This is fundamental, actually, in playing ensemble music, orchestra or any ensemble. And I have to tell you, your pulse just as good when I heard you a week ago playing with one of your sons. In fact, I don't know which son played the piano. Very talented.
He's my oldest son.
That was David, okay. And I'm not being polite, but I'm totally honest. He is extremely eloquent, very talented, but your beat kept him very much on the right beat. And I wanted to say something else, that when I talked to you, I forgot about your age. In fact, you make me feel much younger. And why? because you project so much energy, so much creativity, so much pulse for life that I don't think I will get this speaking to much younger person on the 30s, 40s, or 50s. So that made me forget last time to announce your age. So I would ask you, what age is meaning to you? Is it just a number or it means something else?
No, it's a strange adventure. It's an adventure because I didn't know what to expect at my age, because unfortunately there aren't any other people. There are some in the country, and I, on my Facebook, just for the fun of it, I formed 100+ club, and I told people on the Facebook that there are 100+ to let me hear from them. But so far, I've only heard from 2 people, and they were happy to tell me that they were over 100 years old. Now, as 103, I remember many, many things that had happened since World War II, when I was 22 years old, and I was in the army.
Yes.
I was 22. I got married when I was 22 also.
Yes, 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 yes. You just brought to life my next question. Just literally my thought. Remember, I asked you if you can share some personal experiences and your vision, your feeling for history. And I would like to ask you, how do you perceive your journey through wars, depression, economical crisis, actually some collisions international in an international arena? How you can tell us what is your memory about this?
I remember World War II was a very, very big, important war. And at that time, the citizens in America were, all of them were very cooperative. And even though they had a draft, which means the government, you must go in the war unless you're sick or something. So when we went in, they trained us, but I had very bad eyes and I could not go overseas because I was almost blind in one eye.
Yes.
So I was in America, and I was in a unit called the Psychological Research Unit. Now, that was a unit that was made up of mostly college professors and young graduates who minored in psychology. And the professor that was in charge of the class suggested to me that I should volunteer and go into his unit, because we did the same thing in the Air Force that we did in the college. And we gave what we called aptitude tests. Every
Yes.
young boy that went in the Army, Air Force, wanted to become a pilot, but not everybody had the aptitude to become a pilot. And the government wanted to make the Air Force very quick. So our job was to give aptitude tests to see if they would have the aptitude to make a good pilot or a navigator or a bombardier. And navigators were very important. and they had to read dials and tables and charts to get the airplane where they wanted it to go. So they were very careful studying the navigators all the time. And they had a number 0 to 9. And the closer you got to 9, the better you might be able to do a pilot. If not the pilot, then you'd be able to do the bombardier. It was a very funny thing. The American Air Force had what was known was a bomb. The guy sat there and he did 2 wheels to get it on the target. Then he'd press a button and the bomb would fall down. So the psychologist in charge of my iron said that that's called 2-hand coordination. Not everybody has 2-hand coordination.
But you're playing drums, so you have it.
I did have it, but because of my bad eyes, I was relegated to work as a school teacher, like to give the tests every day. And so it was exciting. And I was in the Air Force for 3.25 years.
Mm.
That's the way it developed.
So,
When I got out of the Army, I had to make a living. And because of my knowledge that I learned in my dad's grocery store, I went to work for Hunt Foods, which sold the foods to the grocers. And then I went to work for Polar Frozen Foods and were a broker. So I learned all of the contacts and the way to sell food wholesale. The people that would buy the food from me would resell it to the grocery stores. So like any city, the big chains, Ralph's, Vons, Safeway, they made sales all the time to make people come more often to the stores. And as a salesman, we were told to go to that particular store and help the customers pick a lot of food off of big, big displays.
yes.
Big displays. So that's what kept me busy for several years.
So if I can interject one thing, it looks as if you were involved with very actively with people on the different levels and a different environment, starting from the military life. And also I like to make a connection to your future business life. In fact, at the University of Southern California, you received an honor with the Paul Hoffman Award for most outstanding marketing graduate. So I feel that your young years with your father, and then you spread into other spheres of life, that was already a foundation for your future dealings with business, with the people, and food became your passion. And of course, we know that food and music don't go very well without each other. So it's a very harmonious life you have. I wanted to ask you more of the detailed question regarding your experience dealings with people, because it's not a secret that we come across of different characters we're coming across with different experiences. We have disappointments, sometimes we have betrayal, sometimes we have a deception. How would you remember and how would you characterize your experience with people, and how can we learn from you about it?
I was very lucky. My mother and father were very nice people and worked. My mother was very smart, and then when I got married, my wife was very smart, and my wife was just a wonderful person, and she was a good person. And my wife used to tell my sons, it's easy to be nice. It's easy to be nice to people instead of being unhappy. So I made a lot of friends just by talking and listening to them. I used to listen when I met my friends. Instead of talking about myself all the time, I listened to my friends as to their experiences. And then they would ask me my experiences. So of course, during my lifetime, we had lots of exposure to the war, World War II, which was a terrible war. And then we had the Depression, and then we had the recession, and then we had the pandemic, and then we had the stock market crash. People jumped out of the windows, and we had the soup lines where people that used to be rich were in line getting a free glass of soup. This all happened between 1922 and maybe up till 20,000. And the pandemic was very bad. But people did listen to the government and did what the government told them to do, to wear a mask and be careful and things like that. And as I say, I was very lucky because I had the advertising and public relations agency that I formed. And when you have an agency, your job is to get news out about your product. I was lucky that I got the state of California Department of Agriculture as my client. And my job was to promote California turkey, California salmon, and then all sorts of California fruits, artichokes, cantaloupe, peaches and plums, boysenberries, to tell the people to eat more of that when it's in style. And then there were 500 food editors, 500 that every Thursday in the Thursday paper would have a food section with recipes.
Yes.
So I believe I was the first one in the advertising business to hire a home economist who graduated from college and learned all about food. So she would make up recipes of turkey, chicken, artichokes.
That's your book about, isn't it?
Yeah, and then she would take recipes and photos, and then we would make copies of it and send it out to the food editors, and they would print it like it was their own recipes. And we took the food photos and we hired a very good food photographer and the home economist to make a nice looking turkey, nice looking salmon, stuffed artichokes. And I never ate an artichoke in my life until I started to promote them. And I learned how to eat ends through my teeth.
And you changed the life of Turkey. You made this Turkey celebration as a everyday celebration. And I think I mentioned to you last time that here we live in Europe, Turkey celebration became very popular, very contagious, and it's became family gathering also like it is in America. So that life, a new page of life which you gave for Turkey is highly popular, very, very appreciated. I wanted to ask you another question. You see, today I'm trying to get deeper in your mind, your soul, your traditions, and how you think about the life. And my next question is this. When you have a dream, how you go about the dream, yet not to lose your feet on the ground, how to make a decision about promoting your dream and yet to see what's realistic and what is not.
It's very, very funny. It's very strange. Recently, within the last couple of months, I have no understanding why. The last couple of months, I've had dreams about what I used to do, what my promotion was. At night, I've had this dream, and
Yes.
the dream was so strong that I actually was working, doing things to promote any time is turkey time. That was the motto. Any time is turkey time. Easter time is turkey time. Mother's Day is turkey time. And the idea was, of course, the farmers, the turkey growers, wanted to sell turkey all year long. But the butchers, they didn't have room for the big turkeys, and they weren't interesting. Then the turkey farmers found a way is to cut turkeys into turkey breast and turkey thighs, smaller pieces, so they could just demonstrate. And then Jane Mansfield was a very sexy lady. She was an actress. And I took a picture of Jane Mansfield with a turkey. And I took a picture of her feeding me with a piece of turkey. And I sent that photo to 200 butchers in the state of California and the adjacent states. And I was told that most of the butchers had little offices, and they liked that sexy photo so much, they put it up on the wall. So they were thinking about turkey every day in the year.
You see, that's another dimension, sex and food, which you just made so charmingly, so beautiful. Go on, please.
You're perfectly observant, right on that. And if I was able to, through my wife and through my home economist, see them, and through the chef, we hired a chef who was a very good cook, but he was so good, he made things look nice. The chef used to say, presentation of food is important. Make it look nice when you cook it.
Yeah.
And I used to watch the chef make nice designs and plates and good food. Also, nutrition. People are more aware of good nutrition now than they were years ago, mainly because of the television. There's so much media that you hear quite often more and more important things about nutrition in foods, vitamins and minerals and things like that.
But also frankly, food was much more natural. Today, you have to be aware of some pesticides, or if you want to go more natural, you have to go organic. It became more complicated. And therefore, I like to ask you that question. We did talk about this advisor work which you had. Actually, you had this work in the White House. Could you tell what do you think is the difference between the advising which you would give years ago and advising which you will give today regarding the food?
Well, years ago, we did not have so much media. Cable, we did not have cable. Nowadays, we've got so much media that they can't help but keep talking about companies, food companies. They never talked about the company, but now they actually mention the brand names. And it's so, they got so much CNN nationally and all the cable stations and the network stations, NBC, CBS, and Fox News. And there's not enough things to talk about. So practically every one of them has some information about food. And then some scientist discovers that a certain food has certain vitamins and it's extremely healthy for you. So he goes on TV and tells everybody about it, you know, vitamins and minerals. So that's what happened. I was lucky because promoting healthy thing to do. So I was very lucky that I had the food accounts. My son, Howard, once counted up all the foods I had, and he said I had 40 different foods that at some time or other I was promoting, including foods from Europe, Danish cheese, French cheese, Suntory whiskey from Japan, and Mexican shrimp.
Right.
So that was an adventure for me. It
Uh,
made me knowledgeable.
Again, you beautifully and logically brought my another question, because we did discuss international connections which you had and your extremely powerful clients like Hilton, like Johnson and Johnson and some others. But I was quite intrigued by your connection to the Santaro International in Japan.
Uh-huh.
Your vision seems endlessly. It's because of your curiosity. It's because of your knowledge. How did you expand your interest and enthusiasm so widely?
Well, I was also very lucky. My wife and I celebrated our 25th wedding anniversary,
Yes.
and we made a trip to Japan. The Japanese client was so excited that we didn't ask him for any money, and we came ourselves to Japan. And he treated us like a VIP visitor. He had a Japanese guy that learned English in America.
Uh-huh.
He was our guide and took us around, showed us all the things in Japan.
Yes.
They have a different culture. They don't make as much noise as we do. They don't blow the horns. They smile. They drive wildly. And they got flowers in their cabs. And it was very interesting. And the boss, the head guy of Suntory, they had 10,000 bars, 10,000 bars where people could buy beer and wine. And he asked me what I wanted to do. I told him I wanted to meet Kikkoman. That's one of the soy sauce that comes from
Oh,
Japan.
yes.
I wanted to meet the clam people that send fish from Japan. And I wanted to see a Japanese movie studio. And he made arrangements for all of those places. And we had an American speaking guide that took me around to meet the various people. And they were very, very pleasant and offered me tea and Coca-Cola and then asked me questions about America. It was
Yes.
very, very interesting.
Your one of your work and one of your function was, as we again spoke last time, is being director of Western Research Kitchen with a section of food beverage division. Is that fair statement that this is where you experimented and this where you expanded your knowledge and interest about food?
Yes. What happened was I actually had a kitchen in my office that the carpenters and the landlord helped me build. And because I took a lot of pictures, the oven company gave me the oven for nothing. So their number label would show up in my pictures. Then I couldn't afford to hire a dietitian, but I could rent one, part-time, like a person, an advisor. So I hired a lady who was a dietitian. She taught at college. She taught all about food nutrition at college. And she got me material from the government, from the US Department of Agriculture. And they used to mail me mimeograph pages and books and things about healthy American foods, how much vitamin, how much nutrition, how much minerals. And I had this like a big, big book, maybe 2 inches, 3 inches thick. And I would refer to that book and I would call her on the phone and ask her questions. Then when it came to the holidays, I would make arrangements for her and myself and some of my home economist friends to appear on a TV show and teach the viewers how to make a tasty Thanksgiving dinner.
Yes.
So that was it. Now that, of course, one of the sad things, the very sad thing that happened was the turkey people used to send a turkey once a year to the president. With the
Yes.
idea being that he would take a picture with the president, wish everybody happy Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
and he would pardon the turkey and send the turkey to a zoo,
Yes.
And he would actually say on radio and TV, I pardon you so you can stay alive. It was promotion for the turkey industry.
Yes.
I was at Channel 13 in Los Angeles with my home economist, 10 o'clock in the morning, I believe it was. And all of a sudden, the guy on the microphone announced President Kennedy has just been assassinated. It was the saddest thing I ever heard. People did not know what to do. They cried, they stopped. I couldn't talk. And I remembered it was a very sad day. And then I remembered that just 3 days ahead of time, we took a picture of the president with the turkey, and I sent a little sign that said, "Happy eating, Mr. President." Nobody ever did that before. Now I had 200 photos of the president and also the head of the turkey industry. I never sent them out. I put them in my garage. I saved it for 20, 30 years. And then one year, a couple of years ago, Time magazine was doing a story about covers, and they found that picture and talked about that photo. And they found me, and they sent somebody to my house to ask me how it was that I could donate a turkey to the president. It was very sad, but
Yes.
that's what happened in life.
It is especially so important to know about such a unique, powerful, and truly uh, soulful experience which you went through. It's important to know that young people aware of it, that the younger
Yes, it is.
generation have sense of the history. I cannot be grateful enough, firstly, for the fact that you saying this as if you went through this yesterday. It's truly remarkable. I don't even want to talk about your memory. That's it's a basic. But the way you expressing this, frankly, only a musician can express. And that brings me to more modern question. Are you disappointed with the fact that internet and mechanical connection between people taking over more personal, more human exchange, which indeed you were part of?
I'm familiar. Since I've got bad eyes, it's difficulty for me to recognize you. I see your shape, but your face is cloudy because I have a atrophied optic nerve
Mm-hmm.
and I've got senior macular degeneration. So with both of them, I can't use my computer, and I depend on my son and daughter-in-law to read me messages. And I have a Facebook, and I have a lady friend who gives me, she likes food, so she puts recipes and photos on the
Yes.
Facebook. And then she also puts me with celebrities that I worked with years ago. I used to get the celebrities to help me promote my food. I would give them promotion. I would promote their movies. And then I would say, here's one of their favorite recipes. So they were very pleased for me to give them publicity, and they gave me publicity.
Yes.
So that's how it worked. So I
Uh,
was lucky on that. And
uh,
as I say, I'm lucky that my son can call me up and tell me that somebody said something to me on my Facebook.
I will permit myself to make a philosophical statement when, of course, I vision is a gift. But I like to say that because you have this deficiency, you are continuing in a journey of communication with people. You still get information from them, you have a feedback, you have this constant collaboration with human mind. And I think this one of the fantastic route for such a vitality you have, because there are people around you and people who sharing your passion, your interest. Needless to say, they love you, and Leo, we love you.
Oh, I realize that. That's my greatest pleasure to know. That's my greatest pleasure to know that I have a limited number of friends that I worked with years ago, or worked for, or worked with. And I've got my family, and my family calls me on the phone, and we discuss the world. They keep me up with the world, what's going on. And even if I can't see, I listen to the TV. So I listen to what the commentator is saying. I can see, just like I can see you. I could draw a picture, but your face is not clear. But it helps me immensely. So I know what's going on in the world. I'm close in the loop. I know what's going on in the world. That helps me a lot. So I am very lucky. I'm lucky on my Facebook. They make comments, which makes me feel good.
Now you had almost 1 million people there.
And millions of people. My son David tells me that the music that we did together has got 20
Yes.
million,
900,000.
that's 900,000. That's almost unbelievable.
It is unbelievable because you are unbelievable. That's why you have this family of tremendous admirers and crowd. So, Leo, let me conclude by saying that I hope we can continue. I hope that we can make more exchanges. And I wanted to thank your sons profoundly, David, Howard, and Frank, who are your leitmotifs of life, your creation. Again, I like to thank Deborah, who is so dutiful and so dependable on arranging our fantastic meetings. I also like to thank my producer, who is my son, also a musician and a composer, and maybe someday we will exchange some music and performances. But mostly important, I wanted to thank you, who gave us such enormous symphony of life, which probably I would not be able to find anyplace else. So, Leo, I wanted to conclude that I would not say goodbye by all means. I would say, hopefully, until next time. And I will raise my. Can you see a little bit? This is. I'm having a tradition to raise.
I see it.
You see it. So
Yeah.
that's for your health, endless prosperity, and tremendous, tremendous pulse of life, which you're so generously sharing with all of us.
Well, it's very, very nice. It helps me immensely. It stimulates my brain. It stimulates my brain and takes me out of the boredom that I have all day. So I'm very thankful for the opportunity.
I don't think you have a boredom. Forgive me for contradiction, but I certainly will look forward to our next meeting. And
Sure.
now, my warmest regards to your family. And until soon.
Sure. I thank you very much.